longer have sound, but if you've thrown the question to me, I'll say in the affirmative that no, I don't believe that they did in fact botch the scene. What I believe is that, as that deputy had stated earlier, they had in fact secured the scene with crime scene tape. He even indicated that throughout his direct examination. He went into great detail about that, specifically to that point.
So I think we have audio issues with both our guests, which is unfortunate, but we will take a listen to some more testimony here. Sergeant Green again here being cross-examined, not about tire tracks this time, but about footprints at the scene. Take a listen.
Did somebody from Fire and Rescue point out footprints?
I believe on my body camera there is a fire rescue individual pointing out some footprints.
Okay. Did you take pictures of those?
I did not.
Did you tell Sled about them?
I did not.
So nobody attempted to determine whether those were Maggie's footprints, Paul's footprints, or at least that night there was no effort by you or your department to preserve those?
By me, no, I cannot speak for everyone else.
Charlie Boehner is still with us. I believe you can hear me, right, Charlie?
I got you, Vinny.
Fantastic. Okay, so how does this go over in the courtroom? Because I know what Murdoch's attorney is doing. He's making it look like these guys have no idea what they're doing. They're botching the scene. There are tire tracks and footprints that all of a sudden are disappearing. That could be the real killer. How did it play in the courtroom?
It was effective inside the courtroom, Vinny. I'm watching the jurors, and they are taking it in. Now, they don't have notepads. They are taking notes, but they're watching. And I noticed a couple of jurors actually on cross-examination, and this was the continuous theme for every law enforcement officer by Dick Harpootlian to poke holes in their investigation, that they made some mistakes, and jurors kind of would give a slight nod, like they understood what was happening. You know, you and I know, and that's not their job to process and collect evidence and do that and whatnot, but jurors don't know the difference, and it was effective, especially when he consistently did it with each of the witnesses, and they would admit, no, I didn't do that, or no, that wasn't what I did.
I think we've got Joseph Scott Morgan back in the conversation here. Joseph, let me ask you. The responding officer, you know, we know it's not his job to take pictures. We know it's not his job to investigate that way. But if there are officers that he's not telling anyone that he saw tire tracks, he's not telling anyone he saw footprints, he's not keeping the other deputies away from the bodies, is that a problem here?
Yeah, it certainly can be, but let's back up just for a second, Ben, because in direct examination, he clearly stated that he assigned somebody to put up crime scene tape. That is part of his job. Remember, they talked about an activity log. That's part of what they do. That's to control the crime scene, to prevent anybody from getting in. And certainly, if that crime scene tape encompassed those tracks, that would prevent anybody from getting to them. Now, one of the problems I do have is if you have deputies that are milling about, not doing a specific job at the scene, they become what are referred to as looky-loos. You'll hear that throughout, you know, crime scene investigation classes and all that sort of stuff. You don't want them approaching the body. Keep in mind, curiosity sometimes gets the best of people. And if this had been a larger population, you know, where you had a lot of cases that are pretty bad, you wouldn't expect deputies to go over and take a look at bodies. I don't know what they did, but when you have a case like this, there's a chance that they could gravitate over there and go poking around. You have to be able to stand and deliver in a court of law and say, okay, this is what I was doing when I was there. My purpose was to protect the scene. My purpose was to identify evidence and pass that on to investigators upon arrival. But yeah, back to Chandler's